Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another video for the Nintendo Switch. I just got back from the Switch preview event in London where I got a chance to go hands-on with the console itself and a load of different games, and I'll of course have videos of those on the channel later on this evening. But the first thing I wanted to do was give you guys a quick tour of the hardware. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions. But to begin with, what you see in front of you is the Nintendo Switch console in the dock with two Joy-Cons either side. And upon taking it out of the dock, you then switch straight into portable mode. And it really is that seamless. You can see in the examples here, Breath of the Wild was running on the TV, and the second you pull it out of the dock, the picture goes from the TV onto the handheld. You're then presented with a simple message that says, you're now switching to portable mode, you press A, and you're back in the game. And of course, that also works in reverse. You put it back in the dock, the image then switches straight to the TV, you're presented with a message that will say you're now switching over to either the Joy-Con controller or the Pro controller, and you're back in the action. So it's really simple, really quick. It's not been some sort of crazy elaborate video trick they've done every time they've shown it. It really is that seamless. But if you then take a look at the Nintendo Switch itself, if you spin it around, you have two buttons on the back of the Joy-Cons, the little buttons. These are the release buttons. You can press them and slide the Joy-Cons off the central screen. You'll also see there is a kickstand in the back of the screen, so if you want to stand it up, you can open that out. Incidentally, that's also where you'll find the micro SD card slot behind the kickstand. And of course, once you take them off the consoles, the Joy-Cons still function as their own standalone controllers. You have numerous different ways you can use them. You can use them sideways if you're playing multiplayer. You can hold them standalone as if it's kind of like a Wiimote and nunchuck. You can even put them into the kind of Joy-Con mount. But each of the small Joy-Cons is also a fully fledged controller on itself. It has an analog stick. It has your four buttons on the front, either X, A, B, and Y, or up, down, left, and right. And they basically function the same if they are standalone controllers. You have plus and minus buttons, which are your menu buttons. And then on the right one, you have the home button. On the left one, you have the share button, which of course will take screenshots at launch and later down the line will of course record video. There are also shoulder buttons, and these are located at different parts of the controller depending on the kind of games you're playing, depending on how you're holding it. If you're holding them upright, then you have shoulder buttons on the top, but if you are holding it sideways, say if you're playing say Mario Kart in multiplayer with the little Joy-Cons, then you also have shoulder buttons on the top in part of the rail mount. So for such a tiny controller, what looks pretty basic, there's actually a lot going in there. It's also worth noting that on the bottom of the controllers are IR sensors that can sort of recognize simple hand gestures and distance. There's also HD rumble inside, and this is really impressive actually. I got a chance to test out some of the 1-2 Switch games, and in the live stream demonstration they showed this morning when they spoke about how it can kind of feel like ice cubes dropping into a glass. When watching that, it didn't really make that much sense, but when you actually get hands-on with a controller and you test out some of the kind of bespoke experiences built around the rumble, you really can feel it. It's really clever, really responsive, so yeah, even though there's such a small controller, there's definitely a lot packed into these things. Then switching over to one of your other ways you can play the console, of course the Pro controller. This is what it looks like. The form factor is pretty similar. It has staggered analog sticks, which are much more akin to say the Xbox One controller. You of course have your typical buttons, your menu buttons, your share buttons, your home buttons, things like that. The base part of it is a sort of textured grip, a sort of slightly rubbery feel, whereas the top is this sort of transparent black matte finish, so you can see some of the little joins below. It's a really nice finish, definitely looks like a really cool product, and this is probably going to be one of your main input methods for games. For things like Zelda, Mario Kart, Splatoon, you're probably going to want to switch over to a Pro controller. However, the other option is of course the Joy-Con mounting controller, and this actually feels really good. This comes in the box. You slide the two Joy-Cons into this thing and it forms something that's not too dissimilar to the Pro controller. You have the grips that sit in your palms, so again it feels really nice and comfortable. You have the kind of appropriate size spacing so that you can then, reach your thumbs in. So it's a really good controller. It comes in the box, so if you don't necessarily want to fork out for a Pro controller, then this is definitely going to be a great substitute. The other thing, of course, are the Joy-Con mounts. So if you are going to play any of those party games like 1-2 Switch, or ARMS or anything like that, then you can slide this onto the rail and it basically enhances the buttons on the top. So instead of you having to kind of click on the little sort of like lever that was there before, you instead have these much more pronounced buttons with of course the wrist strap. So again, for any games where you are just using the Joy-Con, it makes it feel like a much more sort of solid controller as opposed to sort of like a little thing that's just missing off the side of the console. So that is super cool. Couple of things going back to the kind of main unit. I didn't necessarily get to actually see it here, but on the top you of course have the power button, the volume slider, your game cartridges go on the top, and of course you have your audio jack, and you of course have speakers and your brightness sensor on the bottom. So that is a very quick hardware tour. You can of course see me playing a little bit of Mario Kart here. You do of course have your different colored Joy-Cons as well. Did find out as well they are going to be selling them as packs together, so you don't have to just buy red and blue. You can buy two reds, two blues if you so wish. But either way, that was a quick look at the hardware. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then a like would be super appreciated. Again, any questions, drop them down below. I will do my best to answer them. And of course, make sure you keep it locked because there'll be more videos from the Switch event coming on the channel later on this evening. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.